Hello everyone, welcome to Magical Me. I'm Jamie Mendez, spiritual intuitive and oracle, and I'm here with my weekly Moonday Oracle Message. So this is going to be a message for the week of November 16th, 2020, and it will be a message utilizing both oracle cards as well as my own intuitive abilities. And I do call forward a message of higher guidance for all of us, for the collective, and those who find themselves here, as I do set the intention and believe in divine synchronicity that all those who are in need of hearing this message do find themselves here. So it really honestly does not matter if you're watching this live or if you're watching this on the replay, even months from now, you are here in exact divine timing, and there will be a message or something for you to be able to take away from this. So again, this message is for the positive good for all of us. They are not individual readings that I'm doing here today. So I am not doing personal readings, but I do offer them privately. So if you are interested in having a personal reading with me, then you can reach out to me or take a look at the services on my page and we can schedule that. But these are more of like an overview to give us a bit of an awareness as to what we all most need to know moving into the energy of the week. It gives us that heads up or insight into how we can best embrace the energy, how we can move in flow with the energy versus kind of blindly not knowing what we're getting into, and just to gives us more of the ability to, again, flow versus struggling against the current, which then ultimately can create a bit of challenge or even blockage within our life. So these are, again, meant to resonate with those that they are called to resonate with. And if they do not resonate with you, then that is absolutely okay as well. And with that said, again, this is a reading for November 16th, 2020. And I see quite a few of you popping in right now. So I'm just going to take a second and say hello to everyone. Kimberly, Amy, Denise, Kathleen, Laura, Carmela, Derek, Brenna. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And if I did not say hello, sometimes, hey Fred, sometimes Facebook hides comments, or it doesn't even let me know that you're here until you actually like comment and say hello or something. Even just doing a little bit of a wave will let me know that you're here, and I'll give a shout out when I see it. Hi June. Hey Karen. Thanks for being here everyone. How are you? How's everyone doing this week? Wait till we get to that energy forecast. It's going to be interesting because I'm sure you've all been feeling how interesting it is. Hey, Linz. Welcome, love. It's blessings. Yes, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So happy you could all make it. Oh, Kimberly, you're such a sweetheart. Thank you for that. Good. Oh, good to hear, June. Good to hear. So I'm just going to quickly share this and let people know that I am live, since I kind of fluctuate between 6:30 and 7 p.m. Not everybody always gets the opportunity to see that I am live. So just bear with me one moment. I'm just going to share this. And so, yeah, I would really like to know how you're all feeling and how you are doing. Ooh, energy just got, the temperature, I should say, just got really warm in here. So that's usually an interesting sign of some high frequency energies coming in. Some usually like my family of light popping in, your team, my team. So it's going to be an interesting reading, I'm sure. Okay. I think, did I get it? Oh, sorry. I don't know why they don't make this simpler. All right. I got it. So let's see. Hey, Jake. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Kathleen says, more energy than I know what to do with. That's funny because I hadn't even seen you comment that. And I just said, I just got this wave of really intense, high frequency energy come in. Hi, Eleanor. Thanks for being here. Laura says, a lot of anxiety over the unknown. It's starting to look better. Well, that's really good that it's starting to look better. That's a positive sign, sweetheart. You just embrace that. Hold on to that. But definitely, you know, that's a very understandable feeling right now. And I definitely don't think you're alone in that. I'm going to talk about that too. Weekend was really relaxed and productive. Good, Brenna. That's awesome. Okay, I don't think I missed anything. I hope I didn't miss anything. All right, well, for those of you who are new to the Moonday messages, welcome. Thank you for being here. But how this works is what I normally do is I talk about news and announcements and anything that I have going on here at Magical Me, as well as over at my sister business, Oracles of the Light. There are not a lot of announcements, but then this week I should say, except for just one. I'll talk about that in a second. After the news and announcements, I go into what I call my energy forecast or my empathy forecast, and I really just talk about what I've been feeling and experiencing, because oftentimes what I've seen other people even experiencing around me, because oftentimes it is what Spirit wants me to relate to all of you, because it does resonate with you in some way or another. I also like to talk about anything astrological that might be going on planetary-wise that's of importance, or something for you to note that might actually be having some sort of an impact on us, or what we can do to best work with the energy that might be coming in. So then after that, I pull the Moonday message, which is using oracle cards. I call forward a message for higher good for the week, and then I pull the card and interpret it and show it to you here. And then after that, I pull a mudra for us all to work with together. I'll talk more about what mudras are once we get there. So news and announcements, there's really only one, and that is over at both Oracles of the Light or Magical Me. You can message either page. I'm currently offering my yearly 12-month reading once again. So I only ever open this for 1 month, and that's 1 month a year, and that is a basically 12-month forecast for the following year. And it's step by step or month by month, year-long guidance. So literally 12 months of guidance for you to follow along with that can assist you as the year goes on. It's a video recording. It's actually split into 2 videos for you to watch each 6 months of the year. And I'm offering that for 2021, obviously. And it really does, from the years that I've been doing it, and for the many clients who have enjoyed this reading, they've really reached out and said that this has been kind of like a lifeline all year long, as every single month, you know, they watch the reading in the beginning of the month, then they go back and watch it at the end of the month again, and it really gives them insight into what's going on. It gives them direction. So I'm offering this reading now for $77, and the reading probably takes about an hour and a half for me to do, give or take. And then at the end of the reading, so again, you get 12 months of guidance. So I go through every single month of the year for 2021. And then at the end of that, I do actually ask for a master to step forward, an ascended master light being, that's kind of acting as your champion for the year, who you can call on, who's working with you, and what you can, based on the energy that steps forward. It does also give you a theme of what you're working towards within mastery, if you will. So it's a really amazing reading. Again, if you're interested, you can message me either here on Magical Me or over at Oracles of the Light. It is a small window of time that I'm offering them. They book up really fast. They've already started booking up, and they started booking up since even before November even hit. So, and I didn't even put them out there. It's just people know that I do offer them, so they reached out already in advance. So if you're interested, as soon as there gets to be, a large amount of people, I'm going to actually shut it down and stop. This way I make sure that I'm not overbooking myself, and these readings aren't taking a really long time to get to people, because The way that it works is it's on a first come, first served basis. I put your name on the list and the readings actually start. I start recording them December 1st. And then I, over the next few weeks, get them over for January. So it does, again, the list does get a little crazy at times. And if you would like this reading, I do suggest you jump on it sooner than later. I'm always open to, working with people as well. Definitely believe that guidance should not be only those who can afford, not be offered to only those who can afford it. So, I'm always open to working with people. Okay. So that's it for the announcements at this time in the offerings. Hi, Dawn. Hey, Lynette. Hey, Carmela. Feeling much better. Good. Kathleen says, got every single thing plus a few done before the storm hits the next couple of days. Oh, are you getting the storm? I didn't realize that you were also getting a storm. I knew South America was. I didn't realize. Is it the same one that's hitting the South? I do so much magic when the storms are here. Wow. Well, sending love and blessings to you as well, and that there's minimal impact with that storm. Okay. Hey, Jerry. Welcome, love. All right. So with that said, we'll get into the energy forecast. First and foremost, last week, Kathleen says, no, our own storm. Oh, okay, that kind of storm. I'm thinking, hurricane type of storm. So, okay, well, that's good. Thanks for clearing that up. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Liz. Welcome. So last week, I thought it was interesting, and I really do still find this interesting. I don't have confirmation quite yet, but last week we did talk about how the root chakra was coming up and, everything that went into, working with the root chakra and why it was coming up and, stability, protection, going into fears, and the whole clearing out that was happening on a collective root, if that made sense. Interestingly, I'm feeling the collective sacral is what is coming up right now, sacral chakra, and lots of attention to sacral chakra. So the reason I really find that interesting, because it almost is like we're moving up the Kundalini totem, if that makes sense, the totem pole there. As we're starting out with root, although in all reality, there's actually the Earth Star chakra first, but we worked with root chakra, and now I definitely feel sacral chakra. And it seems kind of like it's like the Kundalini serpent energy starting to, weave its way up, if you will. So it will be interesting to see what next week brings. But it was funny because I had noticed some things about the sacral, but I didn't plan on talking about it until right before Moonday. Just before I started getting ready, I actually started having this really strange pain in my lower back, sacral chakra area, probably a bit above, I'd say probably where your hips start to meet. Your hips kind of meet the back of your spine area there. And I thought to myself, oh boy, okay, because for those of you who do not know this, as an energy healer, I am what we call a medical intuitive. Some people just call it empathy, but I'm very strongly clairsentient, and I take on the feeling, not only emotionally, but physically, of what might be going on or what Spirit's trying to say, even with my clients' physical issues in their body, just so that I can understand where to help them and how to help them. So that's how Spirit communicates to me, and they were communicating the sacral chakra, and it was in my lower back, right side, interestingly enough. So I really took that as a message to go ahead and talk about the sacral chakra. And so the other night I went out with a few of my soul sisters, and we went to a restaurant that is wonderful, amazing restaurant, Mediterranean restaurant called Aladdin in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And they have live belly dancing in the evenings on the weekends. And there was a beautiful, gorgeous belly dancer, and she came in, she did her thing, and it was interesting. And I think even someone else online, Kimberly, I think, pointed this out, that she was all her outfit, her belly dancing outfit was all very sacral rusty colored orange. And Kimberly had pointed that out as well. And I thought that was interesting considering we were there definitely engaging in our sacred feminine, supporting the energy of the sacred feminine. And it was just really like that goddess unity sister time. And the women, it's funny because the men that were at the restaurant seemed, they actually seemed really uncomfortable, which is unusual. But all of the women were really just so honoring and got up and, participated with her, really cheering her on. It was just really beautiful to see this magic and this sacral fire happening, within, within the whole energy, within the whole place. We were all engaging in that energy. So with that said, I know a lot of people have been saying that they're feeling a lot of creative energy coming up. And that creative energy is all with that sacral chakra, our Shakti, our goddess, sacred feminine energy. Now, it's not solely linked to the sacral chakra, but being that is our sacred creatrix place, our place of, it's like the cosmic womb as well as, the womb of life as well. And that energy is really all about the cultivating that magic, that primal, sacred fire, and bringing forward the power of creation. So a lot of people have been feeling this motivation, this inspiration to create something new, to look into a new direction, really starting to have these waves of epiphany moments and things that they want to, some people actually wanting to create art and utilizing their hands in some way. And I myself have been feeling that. Also, really feeling strongly connected with the belly dancing and really engaging in my sacral, in that really deeply primal feminine energy. So I really found that quite interesting because it's this whole birthing energy that really wants to happen right now as we are really shifting into, or preparing really to shift into a new cycle. And I do see your comments. I'm not ignoring. I will get back to everybody's comments as soon as I'm done with this part so I don't kind of lose my train of thought. But on the other end of this, our sacral chakra also is the, the energy center that is where we store our emotions, especially repressed emotions, because the sacral chakra is ruled by the element of water. Water is not only that conduit, that portal, that channel for things to be birthed through, or from the etheric to become manifest into the physical, but it is also that place where the well of emotions. And I think that's why I was feeling the pain in my lower back, is because when we repress our emotions, and on the right side to me, I associate with something that's ready, it's moving to be released. Whereas something on the left side feels like it's blocked and stuck there. With the right side, it feels like it's coming up to the surface, but not fully released. It's coming forward to be acknowledged that it's ready to be released. So I feel like a lot of people are dealing with that right now, where it's an incredibly emotional time because of situations in their lives. I've noticed lots of endings and transitions happening over the last week, and it varies for people. Some people are actually it's really loss is what's occurring, and some people are experiencing that with the loss of loved ones. Some people are experiencing that with the loss of jobs, relationships, different things, maybe behaviors or situations may be coming to an end. Some of these things may have been desired, and some of these things may not have been desired. And at the end of the day, though, what I do want to let everyone know is that these things that are coming to an end are things that just aren't serving you in some way or another anymore. It definitely is a little differently when it comes to the loss of a loved one, so I don't want to kind of put that into that category, although your loved one did have their own journey. And even though it is the end in the physical, it is by no means the end for them. It's just their transition into the next realm, the next consciousness, the next level for them. So, but I do send my love and my deepest sympathies, because I know there are many people experiencing it. I've even seen many people experiencing like back to back, having to put down their animals and, things like that. So again, my deepest condolences and sympathies, and my love is with you all, because it's not easy, and I can definitely understand and relate to that. So much love to all of you. Hold your centers, and obviously grieve and reel in your pain, and then come back to center when you're ready. Okay, so the endings and in the other avenues that are happening, they might really have taken you by storm. Maybe something hasn't yet ended, but it's starting to come up, and you're starting to ask yourself the question, is this something that I want to put more energy into? Is this something that I want to carry into the next chapter of my life? Are you starting to notice, as I have, certain situations actually offending your soul? That you're beginning to realize this is not in alignment with where I want to be going, or with, the energy that I give to this or give out. Is it giving me the same energy in return? Is this something that I can support? Can I still stand behind this work that I'm doing, or this situation that I'm in? Can I still stand behind that and support it? Or even, does it align with me anymore? So a lot of you are going to find yourselves asking that question, and it's a really fantastic set of questions to be asking, because as we know, we are responsible for the way that our life unfolds for the most part. And so it is a really good time to ask yourself, those of you who wake up day to day and you have to face a situation that you're just unhappy in, or maybe some recent situations have come to the surface, some truths have been revealed, and they alter the situation. Is this something that you still want to put your time and energy into? Does this serve you anymore? Has these situations come up this way for you to recognize that maybe the situation served a role in your life for the time, but now it's coming up to be released? That it's, just to recognize that it has played a role. And it's not necessarily that this is a bad thing anymore, but you've done all you needed to do in that chapter, if it makes sense. And now it's time for you to maybe start to come up with a plan to to transition from this and to take a step away. That's really important for us right now, as we really are on this threshold of just really entering into a new way, especially being, we are still in the window of that Scorpio new moon, that super Scorpio new moon. And, you hear me talk about Scorpio all the time. It is that sign of deep transformation. It is also about dealing with those deep repressed emotions. This is the time, those things that you put off until another day, those things that you didn't want to look in the face, the shadows, the uglies, the woundedness. This is the time. Scorpio is the one that says, let's get it done. I'm not afraid to go here, so I'm going to bring it up and show it to you, So that could be the sacral pain that I was picking up, is that, there's these things that are repressed, these things that are hanging out emotion-wise, deeply seated wounds that they're coming forward to be acknowledged, that they've been there, they've been hanging out, they've maybe had some control over you for, who knows how long. And it's time for you to look these things straight in their face and take your power back from them. And again, it's not an overnight process. It's something that, you definitely have to work through, and it's not snapping your fingers and just saying, okay, everything's okay, and I'm going to pretend it's all happy and it's not affecting me anymore. No, you definitely got to go in there and do it. You got to really get real with yourself and real with whatever it is that's there. And that's how you really ask yourself, is this serving me going forward anymore? What is no longer in alignment with my happiness, my joy, my divinity? What is dishonoring me? And it could be us, your own thoughts, your own behaviors, your own patterns. You could be dishonoring yourself, So it's just about you really starting to take notice of these things and to really start to let things go. We really are transitioning now and shedding the old. And now we have the magic and divine number 13 just popped up as the viewers. And, I talked about that earlier today with Rachel Goodwin on the Cosmic Heart. And I did a post about it for those of you who may have seen it. And 13 is that number of death and rebirth. It is the divine number of completion as well as beginning. So it's the ladder of ascension. So this is the time to let those necessary things go. Or maybe I should say unnecessary things go. And allow yourself to begin to dream of a new future, of a new way of being, and beginning to embody that in the here and now. Another thing that I actually has been coming up repeatedly for me is to not be impulsive when you make, sometimes, obviously it varies for every single person dependent upon your situation. There may be things that you're just like, no, this is it. It's now or never. I got to do this now. You might feel like that. But for some things, in some situations, it's not about being impulsive. It's about coming to terms and making the decision in your mind at the very least, and then developing your exit plan, coming up with your strategy. And that in itself is really sending out these waves of transformation into the universe, which then boomerang back to you, and everything just begins to take shape for you. So with that said, as we've just come off this, really, really powerful new moon, I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but one of the things I want to talk about briefly as to why this seems like such an urgency right now for everyone is we've got eclipse season starting. And, eclipses are like the major arcana of a tarot deck. They are major life-changing events. So the eclipse is going to be November 30th. It's a lunar eclipse on the full moon. So really, really asking us to make those changes, and to at least start to prepare and get on board with those changes. And now some of these changes, they're going to happen with or without us. So it's important for us to really begin to step into our power, to really get on board with recognizing what it is that just can't go anymore. That's just offending us in a way that it just doesn't align with your nature and where you're going, or who you're becoming, or even unbecoming, if that makes sense. So that's really what I've been feeling a lot lately. I know that there's a lot of discord, still happening around us. My message from last week still stays, detach from that as best as you possibly can. Also, be mindful, be aware, but detach, don't get yourselves into unnecessary things that you don't need to, really kind of, especially with everything going on, even internally, it's important to really come in to self, into center, really anchoring and grounding yourself. And I talked about last week the importance now of shifting the way that we're grounding ourselves, just to have that conscious intention of grounding into 5D consciousness, or seeing our roots grounding into new earth consciousness, or new earth matrix, because it's really helping us to shift up. And I really like climbing up that ladder, which I find fascinating with the Kundalini reference of the root chakra now moving into the sacral chakra. Are we going to be moving into solar next week? I'm not sure. It would make sense. But it does. It really feels like stepping up. And there's the 13 again. We keep shifting. Every time I need to talk about the 13, or every time it applies, it goes back. So again, the 13th again with stepping up the ladder. And I talked about this earlier, but to the ancient Egyptians, they actually saw the number 13 as the reference of the 13 steps of a ladder that were to ascend in consciousness. And really the 13 being the ultimate coming into oneness. And those 12 steps prior to the 13 are what it is that we go through, all the lessons, all the journeys that we go through to mastery, to come back into oneness with source or higher awareness even. So I really do feel like it's about taking the steps now on the ladder towards the new way, or towards, kind of coming into more of an alignment within yourself of embodying that higher way of seeing, higher way of being. And I don't like to use the word higher because it does not resonate, but I'm very limited as the word. I got to really think about another word to use because that's not it. But it just, leveling is what I'm saying. It's like leveling up, if you will. So that's really what I've been feeling lately. And I really feel like I want to tell you just like, don't lose hope and don't lose sight. I know when something happens, it's really hard to pull yourself out of the holy shit of what just happened. And I'm so sorry. I know that there's baby ears listening. I'm so sorry. But it really is, it's really hard to pull yourself out of that when it happens. But if you can have that moment of, okay, you're completely breaking down with that for a second, and then pick yourself back up and say, okay, I understand that this is happening to shift me into a different direction. I understand that this is divine intervention in some way or another. So, what I need to do now is focus on how I can move myself into, an alignment of, where am I going? Where is this going? What can I do to help this process? You see what I'm saying? So I hope that makes sense with everyone. So let me catch up on some of these comments as well. And I know I caught that you said Prescott is saying, Jamie, Jamie, Jamie. Oh my goodness. I love him so much. I told you I'm his fairy goddess mother, didn't I? I said that, Jake, from the very beginning. I love him. Hello, beautiful Prescott. Thank you for watching. Prescott is Lindsay's youngest son. And if Jackson is there, I'm sending my love to him as well. He tunes in all the time. How old is he's 3? Is he 3 now? So I think this is just absolutely too stinking adorable. All right. So I know. Hi, Sierra. Hi, Tracy. Welcome. Thanks for being here. All right. So let me see what I may have missed. Rain, rain, rain. Yeah, I do have another friend, Candace, in a different part of... I always forget. It starts with an O. If I'm not mistaken, she's in a different part of California, and they did just get rain. So, yeah, I hope that you do get the rain that you need. Lindsay says, my right side lower back is ridiculously in pain. See? Wow. Well, has it just been today, or has it been consistent? And that makes sense, Linz. It makes sense, if you think in terms of like what's going on right now, emotionally, yeah, I can feel how, your body's maybe just letting you know that, holding on to those heavier emotions regarding the circumstances might actually be, and that's what happens. Like if it's my own, for me personally, if I'm thinking of something repetitiously that's like not good for me, if I'm stressing myself out, like the monkey mind going over and over or something, my body will actually show me where it's creating a block, or where it might create a block if I don't kind of like deal with it and don't keep going into that space, if you will. So it is important because, it doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, that it's automatically going to create a physical block on your body, but it can create an energetic block, which if not dealt with, can eventually come into being a physical issue. So you don't want that. So yes, it's important for us to recognize what's going on right now. And listening to our bodies is so important, because our bodies are intuitive. They almost have a mind of their own. They do communicate. They do speak to us. We've been taught not to listen, if that makes sense. We've been taught to take a pill for everything. Not that it's bad to take pills for some things you need to. And, everyone is different. But for certain things, all you got to do is check in and acknowledge it. Okay? All right. Kathleen says, the search for soul's purpose has been awakened universally. Belly dancing is the perfect example. That is the feeling of the Kundalini raising. Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks for saying that. You know, I can't remember what day it was. Something with my own cards and messages that came forward were really talking about, not only with me personally, but maybe, did I talk about this last week on Moonday? I think I did too, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or I'm having deja vu from another life. The Some people's psychic abilities were actually going to be starting to really come online and expand, and not just psychic abilities, but coming into more of an awareness of their soul's calling, their soul's purpose. And that's really what is, essentially, that's what's going on across the board, but it might seem much more subtle. Like, for example, if you lost your job, you know, obviously for one reason that job might not have been serving you anymore, but is it calling you to start to find a job that's less a job and more your soul's passion? You see? So things that are happening, you know, they're essentially shifting us and helping us to shift to come into our own authentic truth. And as you come into your truth, there's really nothing left to do but begin to honor your soul's calling and purpose. And it's like, it's undeniable at that point. So, you know, everybody is gradually being shifted. And, you know, some people won't see that, sadly. Some people won't even, they won't have any, because of resistance to, you know, any of this type of information, they won't even look to that. And I know there are some people who will say, well, what's the point of even having a life purpose? We all have one, and it might be something as, you know, big and insanely, you know, large mission, or it could just be, you know, you were meant to serve somebody as, you know, I don't know, I can't even think of anything small right now because I don't think any life purposes are small, but you might not recognize that it is something as big as a life purpose, if that makes sense. So everybody's purpose is unique to them, but yes, Kathleen is absolutely right. We are being activated, awoken to our soul's calling, coming to alignment with our higher mind, dormant chakras being activated and opened up on higher levels, really moving into more of, you know, kind of, I'm seeing like almost like a merging of our light bodies coming in with our energy bodies. So there really is so much happening that I could go on and on and on in the higher realms or in the astral realms, that even in our sleep, you know, but really lots of people are going to notice a shift in their own awareness, in their own abilities, in their messages, suddenly feeling your intuition being spot on, noticing things, smelling things, hearing things. I mean, all of these senses just being activated and heightened. So absolutely. Thank you for that. Dawn says, I pulled a card today about death and rebirth. Up, right on the money there. Brenna says that she has a 4 life path and 13 is her favorite number. 13 is my favorite number as well. It always was, long before I understood why. I thought maybe it was because I was very rebellious when I was young, and I thought, well, you know, if you're going to tell me it's taboo, then I'm going to say it's my favorite one. And it was, and it became my favorite one. So it might have something to do with that, but deep down there was that innate knowing that this was a number that I'm very, very connected to, especially as a Scorpio sun. Very connected to this energy of 13. But yeah, 4 being that life path, you know, and 13 obviously breaking down to be that 4 is, you know, that 1, it's like this, you know, divine, like the perfection of the structure, the stability being built there, the foundation being laid, direction, you know, and there is an air of completion to the number 4. Although I don't see it as like completion, there is an air of completion to 4, if that even makes sense. We have been working on opening the crown chakra and letting light in. The root is reaching for this light in doing so. Once the cycle began, it is pulling up Kundalini. Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, if I can be completely honest, I think that a lot of our chakras are actually being opened, especially with Corona. You know, we talked about this in the beginning of the year when Corona actually first hit. You know, Corona translates to crown and is very much about the mental body, and the mental body connects us it's connected to our consciousness as well as our perspective and perception. So it really was about opening and facilitating, but I do feel like it's also, I feel like simultaneously all of the chakras are really being activated, expanded, realigned. I mean, there's just so much happening. And as I talk right now, I'm having like serious fire in my third eye chakra. So, it's like there's just these upgrades that are happening. I mean, we think about how long we've been in this dense consciousness and energy for so long that we're really just being opened and just layer by layer really just being peeled away or expanded. High frequency light just pelting us this year. So, yeah. Oh, 3, right? I thought so. Okay, thank you. You're such adorable. Hi, Monielle. Yeah, and Kathleen, last week when we talked about the root chakra, I seen this whole like, almost like a flushing is the best way that I could describe it. And it almost felt like I was seeing like air dragons come into the root chakra of the collective and just be like blowing out the old, almost like breaking down and blowing out any debris that was really just connected to the old, if that made sense, and really just disconnecting us from the old. And that's why it felt like a lot of people's stability just completely shifted this last week. I know a lot of people who really, like, root chakra symbolically was completely just altered. And some people might still even be feeling that with the fears and the panic and anxiety coming up to the surface as well. And it is because that whole like clearing out of the root chakra as we are being realigned into a whole new matrix. Kimberly says, I've been sick since Tuesday or Wednesday last week. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, sweetheart. I do hope that you start to feel better soon. Thought I was better today, but I'm suddenly feeling shaky and weak. Oh, obviously, use common sense and see a doctor if you feel like something is lingering or not right. But also, what I do want to say is I had somebody reach out to me today, actually, saying that not that long ago, they actually woke up out of sleep completely shaky and really a really bad headache. And I know quite a few people who have been just feeling very not themselves, not necessarily sick, but just not feeling themselves, or have sudden like waves of like nausea come and then it goes. There's just so much activation happening. We're really just building in energy, and it's not going to get any easier energetically is what I'm going to say. It might get easier in consciously, perspectively, in circumstances. Okay, so I don't want everybody to go into that dread place, because you definitely have the opportunity to alter your own circumstances and the way that something affects you. But I do feel like energetically, it's just massive waves since 11/11 and before that, just really flooding the collective to help us ascend, to help us to raise up in frequency. So I feel like that it's possible. I'm not saying it's it. Disclaimer, I did not say that. It's possible that you really could just be having a reaction to the high frequency light that's coming in. Definitely recommend trying to ground your energy outside in nature if possible. Definitely boost your immune system with different things. And, obviously if you're having a fever or anything like that, you should definitely get yourself checked out. But it could possibly be energetic. Okay. Carmela also having lower back pain last week. Hey, Meredith. Welcome, beautiful. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, definitely, Kimberly. Feel better soon, hun. You think it's food poisoning or something? Oh, Well, definitely, definitely go see somebody if you feel like something's not right. Okay. Definitely don't want to wait on that. But yeah, and as like, again, I'm just having this fire energy come in here right now. And again, as spirit kind of shows me how to relate. So it is something that's possible that you're having a reaction to the adjustments, the high frequency energy and vibration that's coming in. I get flushed. I start to feel feverish when that energy comes in, although it's not the same. I know it's not a fever, but it just feels as though I have all of the things going on without the actual fever and temperature change. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it's just what I feel. So definitely get it checked out if things don't subside, hun. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like as we increase in energy, as we are more and more expanded, you actually become more sensitive. So, like for example, for me, like I have a really hard time. I can't smell perfumes anymore. You know, I have a hard time. Like people will not even notice it, but I smell it immediately. I smell the chemical in the perfume, and it starts to actually make me feel physically ill. So you'll notice also that as you get expanded, and as you increase in vibration, you will become more sensitive to things and to toxins. So you could be having a reaction to something in the food, to the food itself. I had a problem swallowing meat the other day. I know it sounds really weird, but it happened twice in a row. And I don't normally eat beef. If I eat any meat at all, it's chicken or turkey. But I just, didn't realize. I was like, whatever, I just, whatever was there that day, I was eating it. And I really it felt like my throat would not even swallow it. It would not even go down to be digested, if that makes sense. And it sounds crazy. I might sound like I am off of my rocker, but I felt like my body was already telling me, you cannot consume this. So I will be listening from this point forward. So just something to be mindful of. I don't know if that helps at all, but Hi Randy, welcome and thanks for being here. Lindsay says, I'm feeling more positive compared to the last month. Oh, good for you. Yeah, it does feel much better. I know there are some people who will not agree with that because everybody's circumstances are different, but I personally felt a shift yesterday, and Rachel and I talked about this on Cosmic Heart this morning. I felt a shift yesterday and today felt like renewal for me. So definitely, there's definitely a shift happening, and it doesn't, we each everybody we go through like waves, if you will. So, hold that. Those of you who are, stressing or struggling with anything right now, find your center, ground as best you can, process, clear, even see an energy healer if that might help you. Know that there is light for sure at the end of the tunnel, okay? All right, loves. All right, let's see. I'm going 10 weeks alcohol-free. Wow, wasn't even planned, but it has really changed a lot. My ability to protect my boundaries. Good for you, I mean, I felt the same way. Like, I tried. I tried to have alcohol, and I was just like, I couldn't do it anymore. So once in a blue moon, I will partake in a glass of something, but I have a really hard time even having a glass. My body just reacts negatively to it. All right, so I'm going to get into the Oracle message now. I hope that resonated with everybody. And, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. So I had a really hard time deciding what deck I wanted to use. But it was absolutely art through the eyes of the Soul Oracle by my beautiful sister, Cheryl Yambrick Rose. And I think it has something to do with just this image says it all. The energy of right now, for the energy of the whole deck. It's really, this card is the Lady of Avalon, the Lady of the Lake. And at the end of the day, she's holding the sword of truth, and she's very anchoring, sword of truth is also about, holding your power. And so I really was called to work with this. So, all right. With that said, I'm going to have everybody come into sacred space with me. So I'm going to ask you now just to close your eyes and just allow your body to relax. Take that nice, deep, cleansing breath in through your nose. Blow the breath out of your mouth. Feeling the tension in your back, in your shoulders, in your jaw. Just completely relax. Take another nice deep breath in. And I want you to drop out of your mind, dropping into your heart, coming into that space of just complete, unconditional love. One more deep breath in. And release. All right. And what guidance comes forward for the collective good for the week of November 16th, 2020? We might have two. We have two. Oh boy, do we have two. These are big cards. It's interesting. I had to go into all of that high frequency light and the whole, explanation about that because it makes sense. All right. So the very first card is Wolf Child, and it says, run wild for a while. So, first of all, wolf energy, very primal, very sacred feminine, very connected to the energy of the moon. Very much, that I always associate the wolf with like the nocturnal time, with nighttime and the shadow, if you will, like kind of coming into that whole like shadow and the, just that wildness that a wolf has. If you think about like a wolf just looks like an adorable fuzzy dog, but we realistically know that this thing is incredibly powerful, primal, and just something very ancient about the wolf. So I really feel like that in itself is a symbolic message about connecting into your instincts, your primal wisdom and instincts. And that's interesting because I've seen a couple of different posts out there by some, different people that I follow, some astrologers and whatnot, readers. And there's been a lot of talk about discernment and discerning truth from illusion. That really plays into the energy forecast and what I talked about for asking yourself, what is it that's currently coming up at this time? And, is it in alignment with your truth? Is it in alignment with your soul anymore? I feel like there's a lot of circumstances going on, situations happening that may not necessarily be what they're presenting as, okay? So with that said, you're being asked not to rely on what you hear with what is said to you. You're being asked to rely on what you feel, what you intuitively know, all right? Really looking between the lines for number one. So I feel like using your primal instincts about situations as well, like decisions that are coming forward. I'm getting covered in chills right now. So really using your primal instincts about decisions, big life choices, even situations that have occurred. You're being asked not to connect into the surface of it. You're being asked to connect into the big picture feeling of it. Does that make sense? To really understand what's really going on and why something is really happening and what is the best decision for you. For example, I'm going to just use this because it's perfectly aligned with what it could create. So some of you might be feeling the call to leave a situation, whether it be a job or whether it be a relationship. This could create a lot of fear within yourself, a lot of doubt, because the natural thing to want to do is to go where it's safe, where something seems the known, the familiar. And there's not a whole, I think somebody mentioned feeling, I think it was Laura mentioned not feeling a lot of anxiety because of not knowing what's, waits in the unknown, circumstances, especially those of you who may have already experienced some sort of a loss or transition, a big change. It could feel like your future is very uncertain. That can be very scary. But you're being asked to tap into what I talked about earlier, which is the why this is happening, the big picture. Try to detach from the panic of something, from the fear of something, and from the why is this happening to me, instead of what is this making room for? Like, what is, you know what I mean? Like, what is possibly trying to enter my life that something this big and important had to go? See what I'm saying? Also, if this is a decision that you're being asked to, or you're feeling you want to make, you're being asked to connect into your feeling, not in your fear. And I always tell my students and my clients that if the decision that you feel like you should make is one that you're making based out of fear, it's never the right decision. There's always a little fear in taking a leap into the unknown. But if you're making a decision because you are afraid of what the other decision leads to, it's never the right one. It's never the right one to stay safe and stay small and sacrifice because you're afraid of the unknown. See what I'm saying? So, run wild, wolf child, really does make me feel like you're being asked to just completely go within yourself and really do some searching right now for those answers we talked about during the energy forecast. Really connecting into the self and what you are called to do. One thing about the wolf is that call, that howl, that primal, just, there's something about, the energy of the moon and, certain times of the year that really do call out to the wolf. Just what is it about them that just makes them howl in that way? I try to find out what it is that my dog, I notice my dogs do it. They only do it certain times. And it's really strange when they do, because I'm always trying to figure out what it is that is driving them to do that. It's that call, that just insatiable need to howl, to go wild. Now, I don't mean reckless, right? Like, disclaimer, Jamie didn't tell you to go be reckless. Jamie told you to embrace your wild, unbridled self. The truth of you, the truth of what you're called to do. You are being asked to tap into that. Impulsiveness, not so much, but start to really look into what it is that takes you there. Does that make sense? The next card. You ready for this? It is beneath the veil of Sophia, as we're back to 13 again. Sophia, the other name for the Divine Mother, Shekinah energy, the female or feminine aspect of Source. And it says, create and activate your DNA. That's a big, big card. So when I talked about all that high frequency light coming in now the veil of Sophia, that to me is the womb of the Divine Mother, and like coming out. You can really see her, like she's removing the veil, she's really kind of stepping out. Now the Divine Mother is the creatrix energy. This is what we give birth, also is what we return back to. She is the void. She is the womb. We return back to that when we leave one way, preparation for being rebirthed into the new. So we are having this activation of birthing ourselves, our wild primal selves. Now, when I hear the activate the DNA and the double helix strands of DNA there, that makes me think to the 12 strands of DNA, dormant 12 strands of DNA. And it really does make me feel like coming back into our original blueprint, the 12 before the 13 there, which is the oneness, the source. 13 is the source, the 12 before that. So it really does make me feel like we're having this activation that's really aligning us into, I want to say back to our original blueprint, but I don't think that it's just our original blueprint. I feel like we're coming into this higher, I don't even know how to word this, higher body of light. Okay. So I feel like also one of the reasons that we're being asked to really start to listen to ourselves, connect into self more, even maybe taking some time out with that run wild for a while card. It really does feel like taking time out, because we are having so many activations. There's so many transformations and changes going on, and will continue to go on until the end of this year. especially with eclipse season now coming. So we'll have that lunar eclipse starting on November 30th, and then 2 weeks from then we're going to have a solar eclipse with the new moon. And usually there's 3 simultaneously, so I'm not quite sure if we'll have 3 coming up or just the 2. But it just lets you know that we are really having this high, I almost wanted to say high octane adjustment that's really facilitating powerful birthing energy and growth as we ascend into 5D consciousness, higher awareness, and our coming back into our truth, the original blueprint. All right, so I hope that makes sense to everybody. Again, these are really big messages, and you know, I feel like there's this, just like I said, there's just this really powerful creatrix energy that wants to come out of us, that really wants to, that, you know, that we're all being asked to really tap into, harness that magic. And earlier today, Rachel and I talked about on Cosmic Heart, we did talk about the creatrix energy that was coming in, or the, you know, the sacral energy of the creator, you know, or creation, inspiration type of energy. And I do feel like why we're, you know, some of us might be feeling like, you know, we're on the precipice of a decision that needs to be made, or making a change in our life, or changes might be happening without our permission, and they just happen, you know, like loss of jobs, loss of relationship, things like that. And when these happen, I feel like it's an opportunity for you to also tap into that creator energy, going deep down into your sacral chakras, men or women, it doesn't matter. Go into that sacral chakra fire energy and ask, what is it that lights you up? What is it that wants to come out of you, that wants to be birthed through you? And there is your magic. So some of you might be being called to start something new, create something new. And again, you know, feeling that change is, you know, creating that, feeling that fear from the change that wants to be birthed or created. But you're being asked to harness it. So start to take the steps, if that makes sense, and start to make a plan. You're being prepped for this now. Again, going into the other aspect of this, again, taking time out when you feel low on energy, because of all of these high frequency activations happening when we sleep. It's Anubis and Aura. You know, all this high frequency stuff happening. It can take a toll on you energetically. And so really, you know, hydrate, rest, connect into nature, have healing sessions, clear your energy, and ground. Okay, so I hope that that makes sense to everyone. You were quite the messages this week. Let me catch up on some of these. Hi, Annie. Welcome, beautiful. You know that you can catch back anything. I think you definitely are going to like the energy forecast. There goes the howling. Need I say more? They do not often do that. Just so happens on moon days. Moon days. So there you have it. The wolves have spoken. Can't make this stuff up. Kathleen says, and the 13th zodiac. Yes, and I can never pronounce it. So I will let you type that if you choose to. But you're right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I did not know. I knew about the 13th zodiac, but I did not know about what you had said earlier about having to go having to move through each of the 12 zodiacs as like teachers or levels of initiation, if you will, to master. And you come up into mastery, which is the 13th zodiac that starts with an O. Orpheus? I can't ever pronounce it. Hey, Alexandra. Welcome, love. I just finished up the Moonday message and the empathy forecast. You can catch all that back later. But thank you so much for being here. You are right on time for the mudra. Yeah, Kimberly. I'm glad you guys love it so much and that it's not awkward and embarrassing. Okay, I'm going to try it again. Ophiuchus? Did I say it right? Okay. That is the one that is represented by the caduceus. Is that right? All right, so let me get my mudra deck over here. So for anybody who is unfamiliar with mudras, close, thanks, I'll just take it. Anybody who's unfamiliar with mudras, to really give you the long and short of it, mudras are a very ancient tool that we can use. They've been being used for thousands of years. Most renownedly, is that the word? Renownedly, by the ancient Tibetan monks. And they are just incredibly powerful, still very widely used today. The word mudra is Sanskrit, and it does translate into, I should say that Sanskrit is a very powerful ancient language, believed to be one of the first languages on earth, as well as a form of light language. It's believed to be. So very, very powerful. So that means that the words alone serve as healing activations. Okay. Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus. Okay. Ridiculous. I'm so ridiculous. All right. It's kind of like my Sanskrit. Ridiculous. So mudra translates into energy, it translates into seal, which actually is an energy seal or activator or trigger. Now we form these seals with our hands because within our palms we do have chakras. Within our fingers we have triggers that are connected to the elements. So when you form these mudras with your hands and channel in your intention, your energy and breathing, you actually are channeling energy, life force energy, into your energy centers, into your meridians, into your layers of your energy body to facilitate blockage removal that can facilitate the overall well-being of your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, as well as your spiritual body. Through this process, you are able to actually expand your consciousness and facilitate enlightenment. So they're incredibly powerful. So powerful that sometimes they actually come with a word of caution. Certain mudras, when they're so high powered and they can channel so much energy, so much energy into these chakras and these energy centers, that if you already suffer from an issue on your physical body in these energy centers, it can overstimulate them and cause a bit of irritation. So if the mudra that comes forward has a caution, I will let you know, and then you can choose to work with that in your own, at your own discretion. Okay, I think I covered it all. So hi Tammy, welcome beautiful. We're working with the mudras for Awakening the Five Elements by Alison D. Nicola. Okay, so how this works is I'm going to pull a mudra card to find out which mudra wants to come forward to assist us all this week, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the oracle message and what we most need to facilitate the message that came forward within ourselves. And then we will actually do this mudra together. Afterwards, I will take a photo and post it on my page of the mudra that came forward. Therefore, you can save it to your phone or whatever device you'd like to watch on and work with the mudra on your own at home all week long, because the more you do, the more it's going to benefit. Okay? All right. So, what mudra comes forward for the collective good for the week of November 16th, 2020? I have no idea why. I'm going to say this now. I'm seeing a rabbit in my mind's eye. So it may have some connection to our mudra. And that jumped out. So this might not be associated with the sacral chakra, but the color of the fire alone tells me sacral chakra. All right. So it is the Akala Agni mudra. And again, I might not be saying that accurately. Sanskrit is not my first language. Okay. Now, it is known as the purifying mudra. Now, that's quite interesting considering the messages and the purification that is occurring as we let go of the old, right? So it assists with digestion, balance, and confidence. It benefits, it says, mildly energizing for the body, balances digestion and directs the breath and energy into the digestive organs, helps to instill clarity, positive self-esteem, and life direction. It may assist in releasing toxins that can cause disease. Interesting. What? I'm sorry, I seen this comment from Alexandra. I was just on the phone with my granddaughter and she showed me her pet rabbit. Oh my goodness. That's interesting. Okay, so hold that as a sign, everybody. And I also have my pet rabbit, my white Himalayan rabbit is also here in the room. And I can't flip over, else I would show you, but maybe I'll post a picture of him. So its element is obviously fire. So there is no caution, interestingly enough. There's no caution with this fire. So everybody is free to use it at your own will. Okay? So how you do this one looks fairly simple. You'll curl all of the fingers inward like fists, okay? Obviously, like that. And then you are going to, with the thumbs resting on the top. Right? So I cannot do it back. I always want to show it to you backwards and I can't. And then you're going to extend the index fingers up to touch at the tips. Okay, so both hands. Index fingers up to touch at the tips. Lay the thumbs over the middle finger joints. Okay, like that. And then you're going to be touching at the inside tips. Allow the knuckles of the middle ring and pinky fingers to touch. Bring the bring the hands, just in front of the solar plexus. So let's do that again just for anybody, because it was even confusing for me. So make your fists, all right? Your index pointer fingers are going to touch. Take the thumb and rest them on the knuckle of the middle finger. And then you're going to have your pinky finger, your ring finger, and your middle fingers touching at the knuckles. Then you're going to bring your hands just in front of your solar plexus. Interesting. Relax the shoulders, okay? So I do find this really fascinating with the fire aspect and that sacral fire we've been talking about, even though, the solar plexus is the element that's associated with the element of fire. The sacral is associated with water. But I do feel like it's not. I feel like it's like the sacral fire of creation, that soul fire is what I refer to it as. So, yeah. All right, everybody. So what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes. Hold the position with the mudra. I'm going to have you take a nice deep breath in. And release. Blow the breath out of your mouth. Channeling that energy into your palms. Again, take a nice deep breath in. And release. Again, nice deep breath in. Release. And do this 3 more times. Nice deep breath in. And release. Again, breathe in. Release. Last one. Deep breath in. And release. And you can state, subtle balance and purity guides me confidently forward. Subtle balance and purity guides me confidently forward. Subtle balance and purity guides me confidently forward. And so it is. And you can open your eyes when you're ready. So, I absolutely encourage you to work with this all week long. Again, I will post that on my page for everyone to work with. I really find it incredibly interesting with the messages that came forward, with the activations, and with this really powerful transitionary time, the big changes happening. I find it interesting that our mudra is a purification one. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so very much for being here with me for this moon day. I do hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it continues to assist you as you move through the energy of this week. Much love, blessings to all of you, and I look forward to seeing you back here next Monday. Bye-bye.